Hello and welcome to the dungeon. I'm your host Rob. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the path of the wild magic barbarian. And I want to be very upfront about this. This is a subclass I really want to like, but I think it suffers from a lot of the same problems as the wild magic sorcerer. And a part of the problem is the class is very unpredictable and a lot of your abilities are just dependent on a random dice roll. And that makes it very hard to plan for. And if you want consistency, it's just not always there. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the problem. I like the idea of that, randomness and the chance, and that's part of the attraction of this class and the wild magic sorcerer for that matter, is the fact that, there's this element of gambling and chance and randomness. But I think that if I'm looking for that style of play, I kind of want this high risk, high reward. And I don't know that the reward is all that high. So I want to be as charitable to a subclass as I can. I don't like just trashing on different classes usually. I think every class out there is somebody's favorite, in every subclass, And most of them have something good that they offer. But I do think that there's definitely better choices. Is this the worst choice? I mean, the Battle Rager still exists, so probably not. But I definitely don't think it's a strong one. And it's a shame because a couple of their abilities are actually really good. But one of the core features of the class is your wild magic. And I don't know that that's actually better than some of the other classes, which you know what you're going to get and is very dependable. This one, some of the effects can be really, really good. I'm not going to lie. But, like I said, it's based on a random dice roll. At least for this class, unlike the Wild Magic Sorcerer, part of my problem with the Sorcerer was that the Wild Magic Surges were so rare that even that gambling fun aspect of the class wasn't really there in any significant degree, This one's a lot more predictable because at certain levels, I think level 10, you get the ability that when you get hit, you can use your reaction to trigger something. And, that at least is going to go off a lot. I think that this would be a very fun class for somebody at your table to play, and maybe even for you to play. But probably better if somebody else plays it, and then you can just laugh at their misfortune. That's always way more fun. Let's be honest. But, like I said, I don't know that. Maybe it's just not my style of class. That's very possible as well. I think that if you're the kind of person who makes a D&D channel on YouTube about optimizing classes, you might not be looking for a lot of unpredictability, and that could just be my own failing here. I'm not trying to be brutally harsh on this class or anything, but I do think that there are some problems here. But anyways, enough preamble. Let's get into the meat of the class. So at level 3, for some unknown reason, you decide to choose Path of Wild Magic instead of Totem Warrior or Ancestral Guardian or Zealot or whatever else. But you did choose this one. My condolences. Anyways, you get 2 abilities. The first one is Magic Awareness. As an action, you can open your awareness to the presence of concentrated magic. Till the end of your next turn, you know the location of any spell or magic item within 60 feet of you that isn't behind total cover. When you sense a spell, you learn which school of magic it belongs to. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So basically this is detect magic, but with an action. And that's not necessarily bad. Yes, somebody in your party probably has detect magic that they can cast as a ritual and do that infinite times a day. But you don't always have 10 minutes to sit there and wait for them to ritually cast Detect Magic. So I don't think this ability is necessarily awful, but I don't think it's really giving your party a lot that you probably didn't have already. But like I said, not the worst. I could definitely see times when you walk into that treasure room and half the items are actually fakes or gadgets or whatever. But it's the one thing you don't expect is the actual magical treasure in the room. Dungeons like to do that kind of stuff to you a lot. And now you can just be boom, what's magic? Oh, that thing over there, the last thing we expected. It turns out it was the rug, or whatever. Not the 17 swords or suits of armor along the walls. So not terrible, but not great either. However, Wild Surge, you also get a level 3, and this is really the core of the class. The other one isn't really that important. So, the magical energy roiling inside you sometimes erupts from you, which sounds painful. When you enter your rage, roll on the Wild Magic table to determine the magical effect produced. That's the Wild Magic table in this book, not the Sorcerer, of course. If the effect requires a saving throw, the difficulty equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your constitution modifier. And then they have the Wild Magic effect table, which is 8 different things that could happen. And a lot of them are pretty good. Like one of them here is you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see until your rage ends. You can use this effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. So basically you just get Misty Step every single round. Like, that is awesome. Not gonna lie. But you might have wanted that, and instead you got like an intangible spirit, which looks like a flump or pixie, your choice, appears within 5 feet of one creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you. Till the end of your current turn, the spirit explodes, and each creature within 5 feet of it must make a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 force damage. Until your rage ends, you can use this effect again, summoning another sprite on each of your turns as a bonus action. 1d6 damage. That's okay at low levels, but that could be happening when you're level 18. Not good. So that's what I mean. There's some really cool effects on here, stuff that's really fun and can be really, really nice, but because it's just random and you can't depend on it, it makes the class a lot more difficult to plan around and to play. And that can be fun still. I'm not trying to say that that's all bad. I think a lot of the draw of this class is the unpredictability of it. I just wish that, like I said, more risk, more reward. Instead of lots of risk, maybe reward, who knows, Either way, I won't bother reading the entire table. Level 6, you get Bolstering Magic. And this ability is excellent, by the way. I'm not trying to, downplay it. This ability is awesome. So, you can harness your wild magic to bolster yourself or a companion. As an action, you can touch one creature, which can be yourself, and confer one of the following benefits of your choice to that creature. Option 1. For 10 minutes, the creature can roll a d3 whenever making an attack roll or an ability check, and add that number rolled to the d20 roll. So that's not bad. It's basically like a combination of guidance and bless. It doesn't affect saving throws, but somewhat similar. Not quite as good, D3 instead of D4, but still quite nice. And you could be using that on yourself, which is also good, especially if you're using something like Great with Mastery, because even with things like Reckless Attack, that -5 penalty can be kind of brutal sometimes. So just anything you can add to your attack roll to help compensate for that is really nice. So great ability. You can use it on yourself, you can use it on someone else. Good for both. Next ability, option 2. Roll a d3. The creature regains 1 expended spell slot, the level of which equals the number rolled or lower, that creature's choice. Once the creature receives this benefit, that creature can't receive it again until after a long rest. You can take this action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So again, I like this because you could use it multiple times. Your party could, deplete a bunch of spell slots, and you could actually use this on several different party members. You can't use it on the same person over and over again because they have to finish a long rest, but maybe your party has a wizard and a paladin, for example, and the paladin used a bunch of spell slots on smites, and now you could be like, here's D3 more spell slots, you can smite some more stuff. Oh, and the wizard used some spells too? You can have a D3 as well, recover some spell slots. Maybe a party even had a cleric, and now the cleric can recover some spell slots and cast another spiritual weapon. Because obviously he's not going to be healing anybody, that never happens. But spiritual weapon, great spell. He'll probably be casting that all day. Either way, I think both of those are really nice. Level 10, Unstable Backlash. When you are imperiled during your rage, the magic within you can lash out. Immediately after you take damage or fail a saving throw while raging, you can use your reaction to roll on the wild magic table and immediately produce the effect rolled. This effect replaces your current wild magic effect. So I do kind of like this because, like I said, unlike the wild magic sorcerer, where wild magic surges might be like really rare and that was kind of what you were hoping for. You're not playing the class without wanting some wild magic surges. At least with this, every time you get hit, you can be triggering some different effect. And if you like the one you have, you can just keep the one you have. But if you don't, replace it with a new D8 roll. So maybe you get something you wanted. Maybe you don't have an exploding pixie that does 1 damage to whatever's near it. Level 14, Controlled Surge. Whenever you roll on the wild magic table, you can roll the die twice and choose whichever of the 2 effects you wish to unleash. If you roll the same number on both dice, you can ignore the number and choose any effect on the table. So this does give you a bit more control, which is quite handy. I'll point out too that level 14 is when the wild magic sorcerer also gets a similar ability, allowing him to roll twice and take whichever result he wants. It is kind of late. A lot of campaigns don't even get to 14, but that might not be the end of the world. But basically that's about it. So I do feel like you've got one level 3 feature that's alright, the other level 3 feature that's the core of your class, which is, definitely fun at least, so there's potential there. Your level 6 feature is very, very good, I think. Your level 10 feature is okay, and your level 14 feature is also pretty good, decent at least. But it kind of relies on you using that level 3 feature a lot. And possibly the level 10 one to, roll whenever you get hit. And then now you get to roll 2 dice, take whichever one's best. So I think that does help to compensate for the lack of predictability up till now, and kind of helps you to perform a little better. But it does feel like it's very late in the game to be getting that. But anyways, those are your abilities. So I did want to say, just to kind of wrap things up, basically just to reiterate what we've already talked about. I like the idea of this class a lot. I think that it's not necessarily very well designed from a mechanical standpoint, because I don't know that a lot of the effects are really good enough to justify, picking this class over something that's more solid. Now, if you're just looking to have some fun, I think this is potentially a really good choice. And honestly, that's what a lot of people should be trying to do. But there is a certain element of the game. It's really easy for somebody to say, oh, you should just do whatever's fun. But the truth is that if you feel like your character is underperforming and you're being overshadowed by other people, that's not fun. And it doesn't really matter how interesting conceptually the class might have been. If it just doesn't do what you wanted it to do, then no amount of rolling on a random table can compensate for that. And so, like I said, it's really easy to say just do what's fun, but I also think it's not fair to mention that if the class doesn't measure up to your expectations, it's not going to be fun. And I don't know that this really meets at least what my expectations are for a class, right? And like I said, it's not the worst, and I do see the appeal of this type of class. Maybe this type of thing just isn't for me, because I really want to like the Wild Magic Sorcerer too, and I just really don't. So, I get that there's a draw here, and maybe that's just my personality. Maybe they're just not the kind of classes that I should be playing. And that's fine, I accept that. Like I said, hopefully somebody else plays it and I can laugh at their misfortunes, because that does sound like my kind of thing. I do enjoy the suffering of others. To a degree I probably shouldn't, especially at the gaming table. It's all fine, we're all friends. It's cool. But anyways, that's basically what I have to say about the class, and it's probably not my most positive review ever. I'm sorry. At one point though, we'll do a review of all the subclasses from the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, and that'll make this review seem like this is the greatest subclass ever made, I'm sure, because pretty much every subclass in that book is just the worst. I don't know what they're thinking of. For anybody who thinks that power creep is inevitable, check out the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. I mean, granted, Tasha's puts that to rest mostly. Ironically, the Blade Singer, which was one of the best subclasses in Sword Coast Adventure Guide, that's the one that gets the rework to be even better still, probably. Go figure, let's take the best subclass and just rework that one. We won't worry about the Battle Rager. We won't worry about the Purple Dragon Knight or any of those. Nah. Blade Singer, that's the one that gets reworked. Anyways, that's everything. I'm starting to ramble about unrelated stuff now. Feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, of course, and most importantly, leave me your comments in the comment section. I really hope people have had experience playing this class, and maybe they can be like, you haven't played it, and honestly, nobody at my table's played it yet either. So this is just completely me, guessing just based on what I've seen in the class, right? Which is very little. So maybe you've had experience. Maybe you're like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought this class was fun, and the random abilities came in handy all the time. That's very, very possible, right? And if so, I would love to hear those kind of comments. Maybe you agree with me. That's fine too. You can agree, disagree. At the end of the day, this is just all my opinion. And yeah, I've played a lot of D&D over the years, but so have a lot of other people. That doesn't mean that I'm right and they're wrong or anything like that, right? Like I said, it's just my opinion. But, I feel like you also came here for my opinion, so I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't honest with you about my feelings on the subclass. And I think that while it's thematically cool, I just don't think that it quite measures up to a lot of the other options out there. So anyways, that's everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.